As each year passes, the fullback plays an increasingly important role in the success of NRL teams. An excellent fullback isn't just examined by the way he can kick return or make a try-saving tackle anymore. The modern fullback is now expected to be able to bust out of tackles, be a contributor in assisting tries, and also contribute by scoring the tries themselves. In this video, I wanted to rank the best fullback from each team across the entire NRL. As always, remember these rankings are completely subjective. In 16th for the West Tigers, it's Daine Laurie. This position on the list is not to spite the talented youngster at all. I just couldn't put him any higher on this list as he has made only 3 appearances in the NRL so far. We've already seen his dazzling footwork and speed in the trial against Manly, where he scored 2 tries in the space of 12 minutes. Moses Mbye remains Laurie's competition for the spot, but expect Laurie, if given the clear opportunity at fullback, to move up a few places by the end of the season in these rankings. For now though, he's just too inexperienced to put any higher in this list. In 15th place, for the Brisbane Broncos, it's Jamayne Isaako. The Brisbane youngster has been unable to recapture that form that made him burst onto the scene in his Dally M Rookie of the Year season in 2018. He has played test football for both Samoa and the Kiwis and was expected to have made the jump to superstar status by 2021. Unfortunately for Isaako, he has struggled mightily in recent times, and especially at fullback, with him being dropped for Tessie Nui last season. It didn't help that Isaako had to deal with family tragedy last season and has lacked any stability, being continuously shifted between the fullback role and the wing role for the Broncos. Hopefully with a new coach this year and with the first crack at the fullback role, he can solidify himself as a quality fullback this year. In 14th spot, for the Cronulla Sharks, it's Will Kennedy. In his first full season in the NRL, Will Kennedy proved that he belonged at the NRL level. Placing 8th in try assists with 12 in just 17 games, Kennedy was a solid piece for the Sharks. He became an important part of the Sharks' attack over the 2020 season, as injuries and suspensions to playmakers like Chad Townsend and Matt Moylan meant that he was given a large amount of responsibility in the attack. The only significant drawback to Kennedy's performances last season was his inability to gain metres, as he lacked that bit of deception, which was shown in his total of 1,743 total running metres throughout the season. This ranked him 133rd in the NRL and 24th amongst players who played fullback last season. With Shaun Johnson set to return in round 9, Kennedy has time to avoid losing out when the Sharks reshuffle their spine. In 13th spot for the North Queensland Cowboys, it's Scott Drinkwater. This spot could have gone to Valentine Holmes as well, but with Drinkwater featuring at fullback in the trial games, I've gone with Drinkwater to represent the Cowboys. Drinkwater had an average 2020, where he spent most of the season in the halves. His one standout ability throughout 2020 was his try assists, as he amassed 19, putting him in 7th across the league. For me, Drinkwater is more of a natural fullback, with his pace and excellent ball-playing skills extremely threatening around the opposition's try line. In 12th spot, for the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs, it's Corey Allen. Corey Allen is fresh off his debut Origin appearance and is primed to take the number 1 jersey at his new club, the Bulldogs. Having only made 6 appearances for the Rabbitohs last season in the fullback role, he has shown his quality in that short period of time. He became a great complementary piece for the halves partnership of Reynolds and Walker with his quick hands and nose for the try line. Allen's drawback is his inexperience in the fullback role, with his small sample size preventing him from being any higher in these rankings. Any questions about Allen's games should be answered this season, as we'll get to see whether Allen can reignite a Bulldogs offense that was awful last year. In 11th spot for the Manly Warringah Seagulls, it's Tom Trbojevic. It may seem crazy having Tommy Turbo in 11th spot, but considering Tommy has only played in 19 of a possible 45 games in the last 2 seasons, he just hasn't had enough opportunity to show his ability. I of course don't believe that Trbojevic is actually the 11th best fullback in the NRL, as he's probably amongst the top 3 when healthy. I mean, we saw that brilliance in the brief 7-game cameo for Manly in 2020, as he had the highest average of try assists per game out of any fullback in the entire NRL, and also had 4 tries as well. Manly's record when Turbo has played over the past 2 seasons have been 14 wins and 5 losses, which is a win rate of 74%, which shows how important he is to the side. He's expected to return in round 4, which I hope for his and Manly fans' sake is the final time we have to see him undergo rehab for his hamstrings. In the 10th spot, for the South Sydney Rabbitohs, it's Latrell Mitchell. Another controversial choice having a superstar at 10th spot in the rankings, although so far I think it's warranted. Latrell is undoubtedly one of the best centres, but with this assessing fullbacks, I don't think he's shown enough or really had enough opportunity to prove himself in the number 1 jersey. We saw Mitchell start off particularly slowly in 2020 as he adjusted to his new role at fullback. He was benched in round 1 and seemed to struggle with conditioning, but slowly as the season progressed, we saw him evolve, and by round 15 he was playing particularly well. 11 try assists in 14 games had him in second in statistics for fullbacks until a hamstring injury in round 16 cut his season short. Mitchell needs to be more assertive in starting off the bunny sets if he's to increase his run meters after finishing in 29th amongst fullbacks in 2020. I still expect him to have an outstanding season in 2021 and push into the top 6 of NRL fullbacks by the end of the year. In 9th spot for the Penrith Panthers, it's Dylan Edwards. In his 14 appearances for the Panthers, Edwards was excellent, averaging 194.5 run meters per game only behind the likes of Taumalolo, Tuivasa-Sheck and Tedesco. It was a clear breakout season for Edwards. He was amongst the league leaders in kick return meters, with jumps also in his try assist numbers and tackle efficiency, as he became a significant piece to the Panthers' incredible season. The question mark for Edwards is whether his uptick in numbers was a product of the overall success of the team. His next step will be to take on more playmaking responsibility to help out Luai and Cleary, as both guys will be targeted by opposing defences in 2021. Before we get into our final 8, I just want to let you know that I'm live streaming NRL watch-alongs every week, where me and the Alpha community can get together, share thoughts, have a laugh, all while watching the games each week. First live stream is tonight for the season opener. I hope to see you there. Okay, let's get back into the video. In 8th spot for the Gold Coast Titans, it's AJ Brimson. Brimo was unbelievable after coming back from injury halfway through the season, as he featured in his debut State of Origin match and was a key factor to the Titans winning 6 of their last 9 games. The Titans only had 3 wins in 10 games before Brimson's return, with Brimo bringing dynamic pace and excellent support play into the Titans' attack. His style of play should be more effective this season, as the Titans' new acquisitions of Fafita and Far Asul Malawi should give the Titans more go forward, which Brimson should thrive on. Brimson still needs to work on his playmaking, becoming a premier fullback in the NRL. In 7th spot for the St George Illawarra Dragons, it's Matt Duffy. After being called up and dropped for the first few rounds in 2020, Matt Duffy not only proved that he was worthy of a starting spot, but that he's an exceptional talent. Duffy was one of the few positives for St George, as the 24-year-old had 13 tries and 12 try assists in just 18 games. His 13 tries were the most out of all the full-time fullbacks in the NRL, 2 tries ahead of Pappenhausen and Tedesco in second place. Although Duffy was featuring at fullback, he was the best playmaker for the Dragons, with more try assists than Corey Norman and Ben Hunt. This statistic shows how crucial he was for the Dragons, as they lacked any attacking threat without Duffy's presence. With many pundits predicting an even tougher season for the Dragons, Duffy may even have more responsibility if the Dragons are to have any success in 2021. In 6th spot for the Canberra Raiders, it's Shans Nickel-Klokstad. After the breakout 2019 season, where Nickel-Klokstad became one of the most popular players in the sport, his 2020 season has been given the narrative of being underwhelming. He's not the most skilled at the fullback position, but he's amongst the leaders when it comes to effort plays. His constant motor and tireless work ethic has directly correlated to the success of the Raiders in recent years. I feel his ability may have been overrated, as his rise was so unexpected in 2019, with this narrative reversing though in 2020, where his outstanding play became often overlooked. Nickel-Klokstad's game will need to rise to another level in 2021 if the Raiders are to win the premiership. In 5th spot for the Newcastle Knights, it's Kalen Ponga. The NRL's most handsome bloke also happens to be a pretty good footy player as well. After an okay season in 2019 with switches from fullback to 5'8", public opinion on Ponga was still varied. With new coach Adam O'Brien coming in, he gave Ponga stability, placing him solely at fullback, letting him run freely at opposition defences. It was Ponga's best season so far running the ball, as he averaged a whopping 184 run metres, putting him in the upper echelon of fullbacks in attack. He was effective around opposition try line, scoring 10 tries and assisting 14 times, which was the best combined attacking output of his career. Ponga's only issue right now would be his consistency. He was arguably the best fullback in the NRL when he's on his day, but is still responsible for the infrequent, woeful performance. Of course, KP is only 22 years old, and I think we often forget that he's not even close to his prime yet. I'm sure that in a couple seasons from now, he'll be competing with Tedesco as the best fullback in the NRL. In 4th spot for the New Zealand Warriors, it's Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. The 2018 Dally M medalist is one of the greatest Kiwis to play the sport, but has slightly regressed over the past 2 seasons. His total of 3 tries and 3 try assists in 2020 was meagre in comparison to his compatriots in the fullback position. The circumstances of the Warriors last season with COVID-19 probably affected Tuivasa-Sheck's play, which is why this small drop-off is understandable. Outside of this small blip, Roger has been his outstanding self. He has never been really that flashy as a playmaking fullback throughout his career, but more of a workhorse. He was the only guy that came close to Tedesco in terms of average run meters and offloads, and has become the soul of the New Zealand Warriors. With it confirmed that he'll be heading over to the Blues in rugby union next season, let's hope he can stay injury-free and give us a year to remember. In third spot for the Parramatta Eels, it's Clint Gutherson. Outside of Tom Trbojevic, I don't think there is a fullback that is as influential to their team's success than Clint Gutherson. Of course, that's my opinion, please relax. Gutherson had a monster 2020, leading all NRL fullbacks in try assists, kick return meters and support plays. He was Parramatta's Player of the Year, the Dally M Fullback of the Year and a debutant for the New South Wales State of Origin team. While others in the spine struggled with form and injuries, he was the most important consistent piece for Parramatta throughout the year. His output in attack was matched by his intensity in defence, with numerous try-saving tackles. He was the ultimate competitor for the Eels, setting the bar high for his teammates. It's now up to them to follow Gutherson if they are to go deeper into the NRL finals. In second place for the Melbourne Storm, it's Ryan Papenhuyzen. Big Papi had an immense year in 2020, which was topped off with a Clive Churchill medal and the premiership. At just 22 years of age, he has accomplished what many NRL players never will, and is still looking for more. He has always been known for having insane pace, but has already in such a short time developed into a multi-skilled ball player and runner of the football, leading fullbacks in line breaks and being near the top in tries, run meters and try assists. Papenhuyzen has become a multifaceted player that is capable of becoming the best NRL fullback in the future. I think moments like his acrobatic tap-in and 80-metre try in the 2020 NRL Grand Final were great examples of how far he has come. With Papenhuyzen having his whole career ahead of him, it's scary to think of what he could possibly achieve. In the number 1 spot for the Sydney Roosters, it's James Tedesco. I don't think there was much doubt of who was going to top this list. James Tedesco has become the premier fullback, arguably the premier player in the NRL currently. He led the league in run meters and tackle breaks and all fullbacks in offloads in 2020. His low centre of gravity allows him to stay upright, which is why he's so successful breaking tackles and offloading the ball. Tedesco, since moving to the Roosters, has become dominant and is in a league of his own. With accomplishments like the 2 premierships, 3 consecutive Roosters Player of the Year awards and the 2019 Dally M medal, Tedesco is staking his claim as not only the best active NRL fullback, but possibly the best fullback ever. That may be a big claim, but with Tedesco at 28 years of age, he still has time to accomplish this huge feat. Okay, so that concludes this ranking video on the best fullbacks from each NRL team in 2021. Remember, this list is subjective and that I have huge respect for any athlete that is capable of starting in the NRL. If you have any alterations to these rankings, let me know in the comments. I'll be liking and pinning my favourite ones. Also, don't forget, if you want more Australian sports lists, mini documentaries and discussion videos, subscribe, like and comment. The bigger we build this channel, the more improved the quality of these videos will become. Thanks for watching.